place the protections they need to put in place, or to have on staff cybersecurity expertise to protect them.
These attacks can set schools back decades.
They're also scam school districts out of millions of dollars, or may cause damages that require millions of dollars of new investments.
You know, I think some people here in our newsroom, myself included, we've tinkered a little bit with the AI chat since we've talked about it so much, just to see like, while I can see how helpful it could be in some cases, in other areas, it's like, write my paper for me. Here's the information. So,
but a lot of times that info is wrong. So hopefully, I mean, teachers are able to, you know, pick up on it. Not that they don't have enough on their plates.
I think there is a software that they're trying to use that will detect, was this written by AI or not.
Today, Charlotte's Megan Bragg is getting a look behind the scenes at CMS transportation workers preparing for the big day.
Around 4 o'clock.
That alarm clock set and ready as school is officially underway. But weeks before that alarm clock went off.
So with the route dry run, it allows you to go out there, see where your stops are, see if you need to make any type of changes.
CMS bus drivers were preparing for the school year.
Had some training over the summer. We've been working with our schools and principals to make sure that we're providing the best possible service to families and students.
Tom Miner, operations specialist at CMS, says bus routes have been practiced by old and new drivers. Marquise McClelland is one of those drivers, and for 6 years, he has been picking up students and dropping them off.
It was something I wanted to do. It was different. It's out of the norm.
He says his route is the same as last year in a district with about 13,000 bus stops total. So he will probably see many of the same kids.
They try to put you with the same children with the same route, but sometimes that may not always work.
Meantime, have any routes been added?
We tried to get creative too, putting some additional routes together. We're trying to minimize any sort of delays or effects on families.
CMS starts the year with 34 bus driver vacancies, with 50 additional bus drivers on leave for one reason or another. But with a $1,500 sign-on bonus and 49 new drivers hired this year, Miner is hopeful to fill the gaps.
We've got an August class happening right now, so we've got new drivers that'll be starting in September, and then we have additional classes beginning in September.
Hopefully hiring more drivers like Marquise.
It's been rewarding every step of the way.
Before becoming a driver, applicants must pass a drug screening, complete driving classes with CMS, and then ace a DMV road test. With your Verify, I'm Megan Bragg.
And as always, if there's something you'd like us to verify, all you got to do is email us at verify@wcnc.com.
Verify, WCNC Charlotte.
Verify is all about trying to make a difference in the community by making sure that the community has the correct information. This is what we know, and hey, this is what we don't know. Sometimes you're actually surprised by the answer.
Verify the difference.
Verify is a great way to combat that misinformation, making sure that people know the process of the reporting.
Tonight, though, a Charlotte woman is hoping to raise money and awareness for the Maui Humane Society following the deadly wildfires there. WCNC Charlotte's Kia Murray has the story.
They need money. They need money. They need supplies.
Charlottean Samantha Ahrens is working to make a difference for thousands of animals in Hawaii. The former Hawaii resident is teaming up with the Maui Humane Society to bring awareness to the growing need in the wake of those devastating wildfires.
Being, so isolated out there in the Pacific Ocean, it's easy to feel just so alone in a time like this. And I think it would just be a really great message to say, like, hey, even though we're just this small city in North Carolina that's like an entire ocean and an entire continent away from you, like, we understand your community's suffering, we care about you, and, we want to help.
Ahrens is raising money on her personal Instagram page. She's been regularly talking to the Humane Society about what they need. Money is the most helpful, but they do have an Amazon wish list where you can send them necessary supplies.
They're really only starting the process, or have been starting the process in the last few days, of trying to identify pets and reunite pets with their owners.
The Maui Humane Society estimates there are over 3,000 missing pets in the Lahaina area. They add more than 1,000 lost animal reports have already been filed.
It is not going to be just like a 1 week or 2 week crisis. It's going to be months and months. And of course it's going to overwhelm their shelter space.
And that's why Aaron's is hopeful folks right here in Charlotte can help make a difference for people and pets in need.
Giving people who have literally just lost everything the chance to be reunited with their pets is like a gift of a lifetime right now.
I'm Kia Murray, WCNC Charlotte.
Carolina will be sent out shortly, but the one that you may have received right now is incorrect.
So just tomorrow?
Just tomorrow, yeah, as of now.
Check 1 2, checking 1 2. Testing 1 2, check 1 2. Can I get 1 2, check 1 2.
Cool, thank you.
Check 1 2, testing 1 2. Check 1 2.
Hello everyone, and thank you for your patience as law enforcement continues to work through this investigation. UNC Police issued a press release earlier today with information about the investigation that you all should have received. I'm Kevin Best, Senior Director of Media Relations at UNC-Chapel Hill. We're again joined here today by University of North Carolina Chancellor Kevin Guskiewicz, UNC Chief of Police Brian James, Chapel Hill Police Chief.
Today's deadly shooting. Let's listen.
Neiman, Assistant Special Agent in Charge, Beth Bogus of the FBI. Now I'm going to turn it over to Kevin Guskiewicz, Chancellor at UNC.
Thank you all for being here this afternoon as we provide updates to you regarding the shooting on our campus yesterday afternoon. Chief James will be providing additional details on the investigation, and I'm here just to share some additional updates. And as you well know, we shared with our campus community earlier today the tragic loss of Dr. Zijie Yan, who was killed yesterday in Capitol Labs. Dr. Yan was an associate professor in the Department of Applied Physical Sciences in the College of Arts and Sciences. He joined our faculty in July of 2019. He was a beloved colleague, mentor, and a friend to so many on our campus, and a father to 2 young children. My leadership team and I have met with his colleagues in the Department of Applied Physical Sciences and Chemistry to express our condolences. We've also had the opportunity to meet with members of Dr. Yan's family, and we're doing everything that we can do to not only express our condolences, but certainly to assist them as they endure this terrible loss. I hope that you'll join me in praying for their loved ones as they are certainly hurting at this time. In honor of Dr. Yan's memory, we will ring the bell tower here on campus tomorrow at 1:02. And a moment of silence during this time is what we're asking of everyone on our campus. We've shared resources for the people affected by this traumatic event, and we'll continue to share updates on unc.edu and through Alert Carolina. We will not have classes tomorrow, so that our community can continue the healing process and have access to the many resources that we're providing to the campus community. We will return to classes and normal operations beginning on Thursday of this week. Over the past 24 hours, I've been grateful for the countless ways in which our community has come together. I've spoken with faculty and students who sat together through the lockdown yesterday. And our Emergency Operations Center and the UNC Police have been working tirelessly throughout these past many hours to gather information and find answers as we continue this investigation. Together, our faculty, staff, and students follow the protocols that we've put in place and work together to ensure each other's safety in accordance with our emergency management policy and our Carolina Ready campus preparedness program, something that, again, we've worked hard to put in place over the past few years. Finally, I just want to thank the many people who have reached out to us from around the world who have come together to support our faculty, our staff, and certainly our students. I especially want to thank the UNC system and our fellow UNC system schools for the ways in which they've reached out to message their support of our community. I want to thank our Board of Trustees and our Board of Governors for their steadfast support. In this time of profound sadness, I'm grateful for the strength of our Tar Heel community. And I urge us to continue to build and strengthen our community together. I want to thank you for all that you're doing, and now I'm going to turn it over to Chief James for an update on the investigation. I'll be happy to take some questions.
Thank you, Chancellor Gustowitz. I'm Brian James, Chief of Police for the UNC Police Department. I want to start by offering my condolences to the family of Professor Zijie Yan, the victim in yesterday's shooting. We are deeply saddened by the loss of one of our Carolina community members. On behalf of all UNC Police, I extend my deepest condolences to Professor Yan's family. You will continue to be in our thoughts and prayers. Here are the updates we have to share from yesterday's shooting. The suspected shooter is Tailei Qi, a graduate student at the university. He is being held without bail at the Orange County Jail. Through the investigation in the last 24 hours, we've determined that the victim and suspect knew each other, and the suspect went directly to the victim and then left Caldwell Labs. Right now, the suspect is facing felony charges of first-degree murder and possession of a firearm on educational property. His first appearance was earlier today at 2 p.m. He is being held without bond. Additional charges may be added as the investigation continues. The suspect was arrested yesterday by our partners at the town of Chapel Hill Police Department on Williams Circle in Chapel Hill. The suspect's car was located on campus and has been impounded and is being processed by the FBI's evidence response team. The firearm used in yesterday's shooting has not been recovered. We continue a thorough search for the firearm and any additional evidence. FBI Victim Services has been providing services to the victim's family and identified witnesses. At this time, it is still too early to establish a definitive motive. This will be something that we will continue to determine throughout the course of the investigation. Call labs will be closed as the investigation continues. We are increasing visibility of our law enforcement officers on campus, especially during peak times of the day, to provide reassurance to our campus community. If anyone has any additional information regarding this case, we ask that you please contact the UNC Police Department at 919-962-8100. That's 919-962-8100. I again would like to thank all of our partners that assisted all the first responders yesterday, and we are forever grateful, and we will continue to do everything that we can to ensure the safety of our UNC community. Turn it back over to Kevin.
Okay, like yesterday, we'll have time for a limited number of questions. If you have a question, please raise your hand. We're going to get a wireless mic to you. Please identify yourself, the media outlet, and ask your question. We'll go first here in the break.
Hi there, Aaron Thomas here with WRO News. I had a question about the shooting at Cottle Labs. Were there any other people in the room? And secondly, were there any previous threats between Yan and Qi?
Not prepared to speak on if there was anyone else in the room, but we do know that the building was occupied by a number of people at the time of the incident. As far as any kind of conversation that happened between the victim and suspect, we are still working to determine what that may have been. So that's still under investigation.
Next question up front row. Left.
Hi, Julia Ainsley with NBC News. What can you tell us about the relationship between the student and the professor? Were they currently in a class together, and did this happen in a classroom?
We are still exploring the relationship between the professor as well as the suspect. We cannot be specific at this point about where it happened. It is still under investigation. We still have that building secured as we are still looking at evidence as well as doing multiple searches.
Second row left here.
Okay, we've been listening in here on this update from UNC-Chapel Hill, just hearing there from UNC Police Chief Brian James, as well as the school's Chancellor Kevin Guskowitz. We're getting some new details on how this investigation is unfolding, hearing there from the police chief that they are still trying to establish a motive in yesterday's shooting there on campus grounds. Once again, this happened at Cottle Laboratories, that shooting taking the life of a faculty member, Dr. Zijie Yan. We do know a doctoral student is in custody right now, 34-year-old Tailei Qi. Qi, we can also tell you, had a first appearance before a judge earlier this afternoon and was denied bond. He is currently charged with first-degree murder as well as having a firearm on campus. But we did hear today from the police chief that Qi could face more charges. It sounds like they are still also trying to find the firearm in this case. They are asking folks who have information or potential information to reach out to the campus police to let them know so that they can continue this investigation. But for the meantime, Cottle Laboratories, the site of that shooting, will remain closed while evidence is continued to be gathered. We do know as well, school, the classes will remain closed. It sounds like as long as tomorrow, possibly resuming on Thursday. Tomorrow there will be a moment of silence at 1:02 to honor the life of Dr. Yan. 1:02, of course, the time that the shooting call came in yesterday, and then shortly after that, campus locking down for several hours as this manhunt was underway. We will continue to follow the latest with this situation. As always, you can count on the latest information on air as well as on our website, WCNC.com. We're going to see you back on air for our 4 p.m. newscast.
Put together a program around being prepared for these events, an emergency action preparedness plan. We have an active shooter protocol as part of that. semester, they have access to know exactly what the protocol is for that particular site, and to share that with students. Our resident assistants play an important role in our many residence halls. We house over about 9,000 students on our campus, and they are prepared for these situations. So we do everything possible, but we also learn from other campuses and colleagues around the country that have had these tragic events, and we'll continue to learn from this event as well. Chief, you want to add to that?
Just to reiterate some of the things that the Chancellor just discussed around the emergency action plan, another layer, and we discussed this briefly yesterday. We also do a lot of education on campus through our police department. Chancellor mentioned Run Not Fight. That is something that we teach throughout campus. We also do a number of security surveys where we go to specific buildings, and we do get a number of requests because the buildings are unique. I don't know that there are 2 buildings on this campus that are the same, so it's very important that each person that either works or takes classes in that building or lives in that building is aware of what to do in a situation like this. So we certainly try to push that information out as much as possible. I know that it's also included in much of the initial orientation information for our incoming students each year, and we also do our best to make sure that we continually push out that information so our already existing students stay familiar with the protocol in case we have a situation like this.
All right, go to the third row. Gray shirt here.
Alex Perez with ABC News. This question is for you, Chief James. 2 questions. The first one being, did the suspect just walk out of the building after the shooting, and as the lockdown was happening, was he walking through campus? Do we know?
We don't know his exact direct path of travel. We do believe that he exited the building shortly after the incident occurred. We don't know exactly if he may have gone to another part of the building and then left, but we do know that he exited the building very quickly. Our officers, our UNC police officers, got there very quickly and entered the building in a call with the team within minutes. And we did not locate the suspect at that time, so we know that he must have exited that building very quickly right after the incident.
And then secondly, the suspect had some questionable social media posts online. Are those posts part of the investigation, and if so, what are you looking for?
We will look at every ounce of information available about the suspect. That may include social media posts, but certainly looking for any information out there that may have indicated what his intentions were and why he actually did it.
Yeah, third row, right there, blue.
Hi, Kelly Kendall, Carolina Week. Chief James, this question is for you. You touched on students. I'm wondering about instructors. I've talked to several students who say that their professors also do not seem to know what to do, and they left their doors open and or unlocked. And I'm wondering if teachers or instructors, professors, if they're specifically trained in this protocol.
Yes, that information is disseminated to every faculty and staff member on campus. Individual situations, we certainly will look at those. There are certainly some lessons to be learned from this incident. Oftentimes when a critical incident occurs, people are reacting off of emotion, and sometimes we do forget what to do. I'm not saying that happened, but sometimes that does happen. But we also need to ensure that we stay up to speed on what's going on. Chapel Hill, the town of Chapel Hill, and the UNC community is an overall safe community with very low crime. But we also have to understand that we can't take that for granted, and we always have to be prepared in case we have a situation like this. So we will go back and look at anything that we could have done better, and we'll make sure that that doesn't ever repeat itself. And we'll also ensure, do our best to ensure that we never have another incident like this on campus.
Thank you.
Stays back right in fifth row.
Gilon Blum in CBS 17, just regarding the suspect being taken into custody.
He was taken into custody without incident, meaning that there was no force used. I cannot speak specifically to what evidence was seized at that time.
And was that his home?
I'm sorry?
Was that his home where he was taken into custody?
That's what I understand at this point, is that that is where he resides. Yes.
Over here on the left, second row.
I just want to clarify a little bit on that point as well. I'm Alex, NBC News. You're saying, originally in your first statement, you said that he was taken into custody at the police department, and then you're saying that was he actually physically taken into custody at his apartment complex and then booked at the police department, or was he taken into custody? Did he willingly go to the police department? I'm a little confused on those details.
I'm sorry, if I'm mistaken, I apologize. I don't recall saying he was taken into custody at the police department. He was taken into custody on Williams Circle.
On Williams.
Yes, yes.
Okay, yeah, on the left here.
Andy Fies, ABC News, for the chief. Two quick questions. One, I know that you haven't recovered the weapon yet, but is there any determination as to whether the weapon was legally acquired or not? That's question one. And question two is, on an open campus like this, is there consideration to prevention measures such as metal detectors in buildings, or any further sort of effort to block access to those carrying weapons?
Yes, without the weapon in further context around the suspect, it is not possible at this time to determine whether or not it was obtained legally or illegally. As far as additional safety measures, again, we will look at this incident and we will see what we can do better. That could involve additional safety measures, but we're not prepared to say what those may be at this time.
Okay, we've got time for about two more, and then we want to back right.
Chief, this is Josh Chapin, ABC 11. I want to clarify about how he was taken into custody, because my understanding was that Williams Circle, at least from talking to eyewitnesses and talking to neighbors, was not where he lived. Perhaps you can shed some light on whether he was maybe headed home and he was trying to get away from law enforcement, and maybe ditched a gun somewhere, because the neighbors out there told us that is not where he lived.
Okay, that, as far to my knowledge, that information from the neighbors is not accurate. We have identified his residence, okay, and we are still looking at that location as part of the investigation.
And do you think, if this is asked maybe a little bit, but is there a better way to convey information to the student body, to your employees, to the staff around campus when something like this is going on?
We enacted all of our protocols as far as communication. We broadcast the alert immediately. The call came in to 911 at 102. The sirens were activated at 104, and an Alert Carolina message went out. That goes out a number of ways, to include text message. In the immediate aftermath of an incident like this, it is very chaotic, and it is very difficult to disseminate what information is accurate and what's inaccurate. We were getting a lot of information initially. I think I mentioned yesterday, we had calls of additional shots fired, we had calls of additional victims, we had calls of additional suspects. None of that information was true once we were able to vet it. But certainly we will go back and we will look at how the information was disseminated. If there's any way that we can improve upon it, we certainly will. But everything that we had laid out in protocol as far as how we push out that information to our student body, that was done. But if there's a better way to do it, we will certainly work to find out what that is.
All right, take our last question here in the back, right?
Nixon Norman with WFNY News 2. I know you said the car was impounded. Did he make his way back to Williams Circle on foot, or did he drive his way back there? And two, do you guys know how many shots were fired? One singular shot, or were there multiple?
By all indications, the car was driven to campus sometime yesterday morning, and the car was still in place, and he was located on foot on Williams Circle. So at this point, we believe, unless we gather additional information, that he left on foot, headed towards Williams Circle. cannot say how many shots were fired at this point. As more information comes out and evidence is collected, that information may be available, but we don't know this time.
Thank you.
All right, thank you everyone. That's all the time we have for today. We'll be in touch with further updates as they become available, but thank you for attending.